The first reviews and first impressions of Doom the Dark Ages are finally here, and as one of the biggest Doom fans in the world, I just had to talk about it. So what I've done is spent the last 2.5, 3 hours this morning just sort of going through all of the videos and articles I can find to basically sum up the general thoughts of Doom the Dark Ages for all of you here today. Now, I think that the very first and most important thing that we should know is Doom the Dark Ages reportedly has 22 levels, and each level is about an hour long. Now, that is unconfirmed and just rumours that I found, but I wanted to mention it just in case, and to be fair, that does sound about right. Now, another very important thing to note is that, as we all expected, Doom the Dark Ages is apparently much slower than Doom Eternal. In Doom Eternal, you're obviously zipping around, double jumping, dashing around, and in the Dark Ages, you're standing your ground, right? You're not going to be jumping and dashing and swinging around the maps / levels like you were in Doom Eternal. And honestly, for me personally, that does seem like a bit of a big risk, because for me, Eternal had the best combat action gameplay from any Doom game. I absolutely love Doom Eternal's gameplay. So to sort of, in a way, take a step back from that, I feel is a risk with the wider audience. But hey, you know what? On the other side of the hand, this is a good thing. It shows that the developers at id Software are making the game that they want to make, right? So there's actual love and passion behind it, and this isn't just some game that corpos are, in their ear forcing them to just rehash Eternal because that worked. And that's a good thing. But apparently it isn't just your combat that is incredibly slowed down. It's like everything. Guns take longer to reload. I've seen a few people say that the jump button is practically obsolete in most missions, and enemies are even slower too, apparently often just standing there and absolutely spraying bullets and, other kinds of ammo at you. And swapping weapons is much slower. Apparently the entire game just really wants you to feel tanky, like they promoted. A lot of the time you're just going to be standing still, absorbing in hits, and using your shield to block things. Of the 1,000 different articles that I read and videos that I watched and stuff, I did see one person say that the shield felt very bad, apparently genuinely awful, but everyone else says that it's amazing and it feels great, and apparently makes the combat of the Dark Ages really stand out compared to the other Doom games. But I still just wanted to mention that once because I was a bit taken back by it. Oh, and apparently the mace is absolutely amazing as well, which is great because who doesn't love, whacking demons in the face with a fucking mace? According to most of the things that I read and watched this morning, this is easily the best gameplay in a Doom game yet, despite it being slower. Apparently the slowness kind of works, but it takes a lot of getting used to for at least a couple of hours. Now, it is important to note that there is a setting to sort of up the gameplay speed. I'm not exactly sure what this is, no one was really clear about it, but I'm guessing that it just increases how fast enemies come at you, maybe how many enemies are in each level, and possibly even how quickly you can reload, etc. And that's not only, that's not the only gameplay customization either. Like every game should have, Doom the Dark Ages has a difficulty setting for pretty much everything and a bunch of other customizable settings, which you can see in the picture that I just showed. So you can easily, just change things to your liking. If you like easy games or hard games, you'll be able to customize the Dark Ages to your preference and enjoy it however you want. And hey, look, just a little reminder, don't feel bad if you ever need to turn down the difficulty in a game, especially Doom. Remember, Doom is meant to make you feel like a demon-slaying god that every demon in existence fears. If you're struggling, then you're not playing on the right setting. Doom is supposed to feel easy because you are the fucking Doom Slayer. You can pretty much see in some of this gameplay, credits for all of this footage is in the description. By the way, this is not my footage. I've gotten it off other people, but apparently there are a lot more enemies here than ever before in a Doom game. You're going to be seeing countless enemies in huge open world areas that are, so it's not an open world game, but every level is kind of open and you have different objectives and you can go and do which objectives in, whatever order you want. But apparently there are countless enemies and it's almost as if they're coming in waves. And I've seen a few people say that quite often they were you know, playing the game, and they would turn around and be like, oh my god, there's more, which just sounds awesome. Of course, you do have weapons that can take down multiple enemies at once, and of course your shield can do that too. You can literally just toss your shield through a horde of enemies and just have it return back to you after killing them all, and it just looks great. According to everything I read, the soundtrack is absolutely amazing, which, I mean, come on, we all expected that. And just like the gameplay, apparently it's metal as fuck, which is always good to hear. Now, I do want to take a moment to talk about some of the critiques, and a lot of that comes back down to cutscenes and lore, because a lot of people have discussed this in their early impressions / reviews. Now, me personally, I am a huge Doom lore fanatic. If you're on our Discord, then you know that, because it's all I really talk about. There honestly aren't a lot of games that really get me hooked onto the lore. Like, obviously I like a lot of games, I just don't get hooked onto the lore a lot. But the two that I pretty much obsess over are Doom and Fallout. And it is very important to note, most of the people who managed to play the game early only played it up to like 4 hours, I believe. But according to them, there's a lot of cutscenes in these 4 hours alone, and almost none of them focus on Doomguy / the Doomslayer himself. It's all about the characters around you in the world, and of course the world like in of itself. And a lot of people apparently didn't like this and found it a little bit boring. Now, if you're like me and you're super into the Doom lore, I don't think that this is going to be an issue for us. But obviously a lot of people play Doom because they just want to switch their brain off and kill demons for a few hours, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, no judgment here. But depending on like which side you're on, whether you are really into the Doom lore or whether you're just like, nah, I just want to shoot demons and have fun and listen to metal music, then you're very likely to either, you know, slightly dislike how much storytelling is apparently in the Dark Ages, or really love it if you're super into the Doom lore like me. Now, the biggest, not really complaint, but disappointment that I've seen from people is the dragon gameplay, sadly. I'm seeing a lot of, it's not bad, it's just repetitive and it gets really boring after a while compared to the rest of the game, which, okay, yeah, that is disappointing. Apparently you're just kind of hovering in the air and repeatedly shooting the same ship over and over and over again, and dashing over and over and over again, like dashing the dragon to the side to sort of dodge like incoming projectiles from the ship that you're constantly shooting. And apparently these ships are quite spongy, although you can turn up your damage in the customizable settings that we just spoke about. So I would assume that the sponginess comes from people who have their damage output turned like all the way down, not all the way down, but like slightly down. Now, obviously a huge part of Doom Eternal was collecting things. Like in each mission, you were collecting plushies or cheat codes or whatever the fuck. And I saw no mention of that in anything I read or any video I watched. Nobody said that they weren't in the game, or anything similar wasn't in the game at least, but nobody said that they were either. So, like, I don't know. I guess that we'll just have to wait and find out. Me personally, I don't really care about this either way. So, look, I think that the overall main thing to take away from this is that according to like 99% of people, the guns are awesome, the music is metal as fuck, the demons are awesome, Doomslayer is awesome, and there's just a few minor disappointments, like the dragon stuff not being as good as it could have been. Apparently the mech is super fun though, so that's great. Anyway, look, I'm absolutely hyped for Doom the Dark Ages. It's easily one of my most anticipated games of this year. I will be reviewing it on the channel when it releases, maybe, hopefully sooner, if Bethesda are kind enough to give me a review key, hint hint, wink wink. But hey, we'll have to wait and see, but I will 100% be reviewing it as soon as I can. Let me know how excited you are for Doom the Dark Ages in the comments below. Of course, consider subscribing if you do want to stay up to date on everything Doom as a whole, along with, obviously, you know, plenty of other games. I've got you covered. And of course, lastly, as always, a huge, massive thank you to all of our channel members for supporting me every month. You guys are the best. But that's going to do it for me. I hope to see you next time. Peace.